Welcome, Mr. George Wood.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on here, boys. It's nice to come on and check those.
Best horse you've ever ridden. One of the horses you'd wish you could ride. Best mate in the weighing room. And if you weren't a jockey, what would you be? Your favourite track to ride?
You have to have balls of steel on that horse to tie it.
Yeah. I like that.
40 miles an hour. No, thanks very much.
Yeah.
Position. Annie Power at the last race down. Annie Power has gone, but in front of the last left. Melody Light by the first time. They're running up towards the finish, and he's mistaken the winning post. He's mistaken the winning post completely. Roger Lockwood and Hoyt for it. For Archibald, Hardy is the defensive title. But Archibald is flat out in second. Then in third, and White Boy is beginning to come. He's drifting off the true line. He's fine, and this was to be home. Swingers are going to win his fourth Betfair Chase, and Cordo Star is still the king. Cordo Star wins.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Tailed Off, a very special episode. I'm sure you can see from your screens for those watching on YouTube, we're joined by a very special guest. To his name, he's got 276 wins, strike rate of under 10%, a flat specialist. Welcome, Mr. George Wood, to the Tailed Off podcast. How you doing?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on here, boys. It's nice to come on and chat to you guys.
I enjoyed researching your stats over the last few days. Quite a few wins racked up, which is good.
Yeah, no, it's been had a good good start. I had quite a couple of years, but sort of last year and this year sort of building up, getting a bit more momentum and a bit of progress. So it's having a good season so far. We'd keep it going.
Yeah, awesome. And George, I'm not sure if I'm sure you're an avid listener. You're probably not, but if you haven't seen these before, we try and get into a bit of detail and try and. I'm the racing novice, shall I say, so I'm very new to the sport, only the last few years. So I will ask probably the stupid questions, but hopefully for those listeners and those viewers that understand the sport a little less than others, just to get a bit of an understanding of actually what it's like to be a jockey. Maybe if we just start a little bit about yourself and how you got into the sport. So take us back to the beginning, and how did you get your interest in racing? Where did it first begin?
Yeah, it's a weird one, really. I'm not the usual route, sort of born into racing or anything like that. My old man, he builds boats, and my mum worked at a garden centre, so never really sort of was around racing as a kid too much. But had ponies and sort of went down to they did a bit of pony club and sort of the hunting and stuff like that. Really enjoyed it. And just sort of fell in love with it as a kid, watching racing on the TV with sort of grandparents. Just for whatever reason, it was something I'd always wanted to do. So when I was sort of old enough, I managed to take my pony racing and went down that route, and just got the bug. Started riding out. I was sort of 15 or so, and never looked back. Was lucky enough to come up to Newmarket, riding out for James Fanshawe, who has been a great help to my career. I was apprentice there, and ridden him plenty of winners. Came up and moved out when I was 16, and 10 years later I'm still here.
Yeah, amazing.
Unbelievable.
George, how important do you think that pony racing circuit is for getting youngsters into becoming actual professional jockeys?
Yeah, look, it's great. It gives you a good grounding, a good base without sort of before you even enter the racing world itself. It gives you an understanding of what's sort of going to be expected for you when you do get your license out. And for me, it helped me a tremendous. What I found when I did get my license out, I could actually tell I was a couple of steps ahead of people that hadn't done it. There's people that other lads I was pony racing with, Tom Marquand, plenty of lads, Eddie Gray, did a lot of pony racing, Hector Crouch, Benoit de la Sayette. So we were all at a sort of. We'd like to think that we were all a couple of steps ahead when we first got our licenses out, and you can definitely tell the apprentices that have been involved to the ones that are just starting out. So I was very fortunate.
Do you remember, George, your first race, like your first professional race as a jockey?
Yeah, it was. I think it was end of May 2015. It would have been in a 7 furlong claimer at Leicester on a filly called Angel Delight. Finished 5th or 6th. You ran okay, and it was all a bit of a blur, but it was a good experience. And it's one of those. For my first season, I only had 10, 11 rides, I think it was. But that's all you need to do is when you're first starting off is. Because it's the only sport really where you start off competing against the very best. I think I remember sat in the weighing room at Leicester, and Hughesy was in there, and I think Frankie was there, Ryan was there, and you're just thinking, these are lads you've been watching growing up on the TV, and suddenly you sat there being expected to perform. Obviously, you got your £7 claim and everything, but you need to be expected to perform £7 less than them. What's crazy, really.
It's quite the baptism of fire, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and it does take a bit of time just to ease into it and get your groundings and there's one thing that James Banjo was very good to me was just trying to build a nice base before you started riding too many winners and rattling through the claim too quickly. And you see it plenty of people. It probably did happen to myself. I went for my claim too quickly, and then you weren't ready for it when you expected to compete on a level playing field with them. So it's taken me a few years, but I'm getting there finally.
What was it like when you first walked into the weighing room with all those senior jockeys? Do you just kind of keep yourself to the side, or are they intimidating, or is it still
Yeah, no. To be honest, like when you first walk in, they're all great to you. They give you a helping hand. But it's one of those things you've been looking up to them since you were a kid, and you've seen them on the TV, and then you're there sat next to them. They've been your idols growing up, and then you're there. So you do take a step back, but after a bit of time, you realise they are human. They are normal people, and it is funny. Sort of people I looked up to as a kid now, they're my friends now, and we go on holiday with them, and it's they're normal people, and you have a good laugh. So it's
nice.
Yeah, it's a bit nerve wracking at start, but you do ease into it.
Is the culture with like with other jockeys, like is it quite? Because obviously you're competing, aren't you, against each other? And again, it's a unique sport in the sense that you probably have a similar changing room area to those that you are competing against, which you wouldn't really normally have. Like, is it quite friendly between the jockeys?
Yeah, it is. But as you just mentioned, I'm pretty sure it's the only sport in the world where you get changed and sit next to your competitors. Like imagine in the footy at half time, if both teams went and sat next to each other, I'd say maybe a few punches being thrown and a few arguments and everything. It does get heated now and again, and
start getting in their head early on.
Yeah, you do get in any walk of life. You never see eye to eye with everyone, and it can get a bit fired up at times. But on the whole, everyone's sort of sound enough to each other, and it's a dangerous sport, and everyone sort of does offer some sort of respect to everyone, and I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, that's good.
In the weighing room.
One thing that's always fascinated me about luckily enough, as being an owner, I've sort of heard it from the other side when the jockey comes out and gives their view, like you did for us at Brighton, gives their view on the race and what you're going to do. How much do the jockeys who are ever riding in the next race get together and discuss, not tactics as such, but who wants to be forward, who wants to sit back, and does that happen much?
Yeah, it would do. To a certain extent. If someone wants to make the running and everyone's sort of perfectly happy for them to go forward, you can say, you can ask someone, are you going to make them? Yeah, no worry. At least you know your plan and you can have a rough outline. I'd say it happened more in the smaller races. A great story of, I think it was Adam Kirby when he was out riding the Arlington Million or something like that. Adam's very relaxed, and he was in the stalls, and sometimes you just say to your mate in the stalls, "Are you going forward? What are you doing in this?" And I think he turned around to one of the South American jockeys and said, "You're going to go forward in this? What are you doing, mate?" And I think he turned around to him and said, "This is $1 million race, buddy. I ain't telling you shit." And so in the bigger races, everyone keeps their cards close to their chest like this.
I was going to ask you that, George. Is there, I don't know if it's a specific jockey or just sometimes in general, like when you ask someone that, like, are you going to go forward? If someone kind of calls your bluff and it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to go forward, and actually then they go and sit out the back instead, and you're like, hang on, what's going on here? Like, you ever get that?
100%. And one thing that it takes a bit of time is being able to read jockeys, and there's a lot of sort of more jockeys that are sort of more better at front running and better personally enjoy riding races from the front, and others sort of like taking their time. So you can always tell what someone, they might say they're going to go forward, but they're not going to go as forward. Like their forward is different to someone else's forward, Yeah. So it takes a bit of time, but you can use that to your advantage. You can understand the jocks.
You can answer this if you want to, and please don't. If you don't want to answer it, is there someone specific that you would think, like, I'm not going to take what you're saying as gospel?
Shithousery.
Oh yeah. Or someone, I don't know, say off the top of my head, Marco Gianni. He loves being quite aggressive in the race. So if he says he's going to take his time, 9 times out of 10 he wouldn't take his time.
He's going straight to the front and off he goes.
Yeah. David Probert, he's another one. He'd try and bluff you away.
Do you have anywhere you prefer to be in a race, or do you just take each race as it comes?
Not really. I'd like to think I'm quite versatile, but I personally think unless the pace is very quick, or you're on a horse that needs to be sort of ridden colder, I'd like to give every horse I ride an opportunity, and if we can sort of go forward to get your position rather than sitting too far back.
Let's get into a bit more about what it's like to actually be a jockey then. So give us a little idea, George, in terms of what your your daily routine is, and sort of, you know, day to day, really, like how you prep for races, and then obviously during race day, like, yeah, what's your routine and things that you usually do?
Yeah, it's one thing about racing, being a jockey. Every day is completely different, really. Because we're racing all around the country, and sometimes different countries as well. So every day is different. But sort of, I know, take today for example. I was up at sort of 6:30 this morning. We were galloping at the July course. A couple of horses that are going to Glorious Goodwood next week. So we're at the July course at 7:15, galloping there. Come back here, and then obviously chatting to you guys for an hour, and then I'll be in the bath for a bit before leaving for York at 12:30. So yeah, should get to York for around hopefully about 4 o'clock or so. Then it's for getting about an hour and a half before the race. Usually gives yourself plenty of time just to chill out, settle down. I'd always try and stretch a bit before racing as well. This time of year, it's quite intense. The racing, it's relentless. So just try and keep the body in as good nick as we can for the rest of the season, really. So it's very much we're fit now. It would be in the gym few times a week, but not as much as we would be at the start of the year. And it's all just about maintenance rather than trying to get fitter and stronger this year. That's the way I look at it.
What sort of things are you doing at the gym then? Obviously, you're doing, I guess, a bit of core and things like that. You're doing like strength and stuff. Like, is it like you say, if you're racing a lot now, you're probably just maintaining a bit of stretching and stuff. But yeah, what do you do to like get ready?
Yeah, so sort of it'd always be sort of beginning of the season or so. You'd be doing plenty of core exercises for body strength work, and just trying to get that little bit fitter and a little bit stronger from the previous season. And your cardio work as well, because in the winter we're busy, but it's not as busy as it is in the summer. So you sort of and so this time of year you'd be doing a bit of cardio, a bit of strength. But as I said, for me it's more maintenance. Keeping the weight sort of around 9 stone around there. That's why I try and sit at, and try and keep the body feeling fresh and well because it is so relentless.
Just talking about weight there, George, and in terms of like your lowest riding weight or the weight you'd kind of say, right, that is my bottom limit. How difficult do you find it to kind of go from say like a 9 stone to potentially like an 8 stone? I don't know what your lowest weight would be, like an 8 stone 8 potentially or something like that. Is it quite easy for you to shed the weight, or you're like, I don't want to be doing this?
Yeah, no one wants to be doing it, I can tell you that. But yeah, my lowest riding weight would be 8.7. If me and my agent felt like that it was worth doing for, I did 8.7 in the Cambridgeshire down here last year. But that's sort of rock bottom weight, and you don't want to be knowing you're going to be doing that weight for a week or so. You can take down the calories slightly, up the protein, take down the calories, and then it'll be sort of you'll be losing your water weight in the last couple of days, and it's all sweat. A lot of it is water weight for us. So it's a shame now with the sauna's been taken away and everything, but we'll be using a sauna sort of before going racing, and losing the 5-6 pounds the morning of the race to get down to the 8.7. We try not to do it too often because it is quite taxing and tolling on the body. When we feel like it'd be worth doing, we do it.
I was actually going to say about the saunas, because
your eyes lit up there, Al. As soon as the sauna was mentioned, he's ready to go now. He's ready.
And George,
only because these two were taking the mick at me, saying, "Oh, why are you asking about saunas for?" And I'm saying, "Because it's important for jockeys." Obviously, they were a massive part. I mean, they were pretty much in every weighing room, weren't they, in the country pre-COVID, and then they were, moved by the BHA. And I'm sure you've got your own opinions on that. And you've mentioned being in the bath. I think you said you might access a sauna before you go and racing, but how do you sort of navigate not having saunas anymore?
I tell you, it's made our life hell, I'm not going to lie. And I've been very strongly opinionated to sort of Jerry Hill, who's our main doctor, who was the guy who got them taken away from us. And it's just made our life very, very difficult. As I think Adam Kirby, he's near enough retired because of it. The fact is now we're having to sweat before we go racing. Whereas before we could get in the car, you could have your coffee, you could drive up to the race course, you could lose your 3 or 4 pounds, whatever you need to lose, ride, and then rehydrate straight away. Whereas now we're having to be dehydrated for 5-6 hours most of the time. So it's made life a lot more difficult. A lot of lads are now sort of driving somewhere nearby the race courses and going in the sauna that way.
Oh God.
Using a sauna at a spa or whatever. I think a few lads before, I've never done it, but they've bought a hotel room for just use the bath for a couple of hours. It was crazy, and as I said, I can't get my head around it. I've been very strongly opinionated why with this. They're having the sauna studies now to basically they're having the studies to see how being dehydrated affects our riding performance and everything, and hopefully it's the start of the ball rolling to get the saunas back, because it'll make our life a hell of a lot easier if we had somewhere losing weight at the racecourse.
Can't be healthy, surely, to dehydrate yourself. Like, surely the sauna is like the best way of doing it. I don't
Well,
get that
yeah.
at all.
Is that the main reason? Was it was health or health reasons?
Well,
Was it?
I don't know. Jerry Hill, the main doctor, he came out. There's an article in the Daily Mail in 2017. He came out and said his main aim was to get the saunas taken away. I don't know why he wanted to do that, but that's for some reason that was his main aim. And then when COVID came, that was his perfect excuse to get the saunas taken away.
Right.
And now trying to fight to get them back is pretty difficult because they're dragging their heels and saying that it's not healthy and this and that. But I think what for some reason they thought that they get rid of the saunas and all jockeys would actually just stop sweating. Where it's not the case, and now having to sweat and then drive
exactly.
racing. And it's what does my head in more than anything is I said to them, like, they're meant to be the professionals, and there's myself sat here who failed my science GCSEs and everything. I can tell him that it's not healthy for us to be sweating, then getting in the car and going racing. It's far better to be dehydrated for 40 minutes than 4 hours. Yeah, and I'm quite passionate about it. So yeah, don't get me going too much.
I'll tell you what, George. I'll send you one of these portable saunas. I know a good business that does them.
So I got myself one of the sauna blankets a couple of years ago, and that's been a big help.
They're quite good.
So it's basically like a heated sleeping bag. I can take that racing and
that's quite
have a sweat when I get there. Yeah.
So I heard stories of jockeys trying to come up with creative ways of losing the weight, and they'd be wearing loads of clothes, driving to the races with the heating in the car turned up, trying to sweat on the way. And I just think that can't be safe while you're driving up a mountain.
No, exactly. And I've done it. I was at Chester not so long ago, and I had the traffic was terrible on the way up there. So I wasn't going to have too much time when I did get up there. So I had to pull over, get my sweating gear on in the car, get the heating on. And then, sort of just so I started sweating. And when I got to Chester, I laid out my sauna blanket and got in there for sort of half an hour, 40 minutes to lose the rest of my weight. Whereas, as I said, it'd been far easier just to be able to arrive up there 40 minutes beforehand and be able to jump in the sauna. Yeah, this is what we're dealing with at the moment. And hopefully with these sauna studies that are taking place now, it can be the start of getting them back.
Have they given a time frame for when they intend to kind of close that out to say, like, yes, okay, the sauna studies are done, we're happy to kind of put the saunas back in?
Not really. The sauna studies are taking place now. I think they've had 3 or 4 of them, I think, and they've got a few more to do. And then I've asked that question, so what happens after the sauna studies come back? And all they've sort of come back with saying is, we need to wait for the results before we can make a judgment.
The classic.
And they said this has been going on since 2021. I doubt it'll be any time soon, but if it can be the next 2 or 3 years, that would be it'd be a lot better than nothing.
Did you want to ask? You were obviously, George took away your sort of question around. Do you want to take some? To ask about the whip rules?
Yeah, it's probably another controversial subject, George. But just one of the things we've done on this podcast since we started was just explain things about the whip, and obviously, how it doesn't hurt horses and stuff like that. But we've talked about the whip rules and how they've changed so much over the years. Obviously, Colin Keane was recently found foul of the English rules being so strict that he wasn't used to, and I'd just be interested to know and what the kind of weighing room opinion is. Obviously, the jockeys were consulted on the changes to the rules, and I suppose had to sort of sign up to them. But I don't know if you've got a view on whether they're too strict or how you find them to deal with.
Yeah, the whip rules, obviously, it's over in the UK now. We're allowed to be permitted six strikes of the whip, and then if we go 1 and over, it's a 4-day suspension. And that's sort of when they first brought it in. They were really, it was. A lot of jockeys were getting done for sort of double tapping. So a lot of jockeys before they would need a whip, they'll sort of come back before they actually strike the horse. And a lot of jockeys were getting done for that, and they're being very, very strict about it. And then sort of a few months later, eased into it slightly. Personally, I think the whip rules now are a good stage. It's very difficult to be counting. If you're going 1 over, you get a 4-day suspension straight away. It's not easy at all. I think there could be a bit more leniency there because there's no warning at all. As soon as you go sort of 7, you're getting your 4 days. PJ did a good job, managed to change it. So if it's been 200 rides since your last whip offence, you'll get 2 days taken off your 4 days. So it's only 2 days. And I think if it's been 100 rides since, you get a day taken off. So that's a big help. So if you haven't had a stick ban for a while, it is only a sort of a 2-day suspension rather than 4. And if you get 4 stick bans within 6 months, that's when you get done for totting up, and it's a 14-day suspension.
Right.
What's quite very, very harsh, but it's the rules we used to riding different jurisdictions around the world where you have to ride by the rules. You go to Germany, you use your stick 4 times, you get a 14-day ban straight away, including down the neck. A lot of people get caught foul of that when they go over there. You go over to Scandinavia, you're not even allowed to carry a stick. So yeah, it's all every jurisdiction is different, and it's not always easy to keep up with them. But I feel in the UK now we're at a good level, and it's only sort of going one way, and we're doing well to sort of keep it where it is for now, I think.
It's quite a lot to think about, isn't it? As a jockey, are you obviously you're trying to win the race, but are you thinking, have I whipped once, twice, 3 times? I'm not quite sure. Are you like, or is it quite natural for you now? Like, are you constantly thinking?
No, not at all. To be honest, I've actually sort of within the last month, I've had 2 stick suspensions, and it is difficult because you try and count, and then you do lose track, or as I said, you only have to
trying to race,
by
aren't
one
you?
because you're trying to ride, exactly, you're trying to ride your race, and to the point now that I've actually going to have to sort of not have to, but I'm really having to sort of think about it because I've had my 2 stick suspensions in the last couple of months. Last month, sorry. I can't be seen foul again, otherwise I would be getting done for the tossing up. So it's something that over the next few weeks I'm going to have to really think about and really, really manage. But I think that's sort of what the BHA want, is for them to be strict enough that people don't go over what's completely fair, if I'm honest.
Kind of adding on to that as well, George. I mean, you're saying about the 2 and 4 day suspensions, and up to, like, if you get the tossing up, you get an automatic 14-day. Financially, obviously, for a jockey, like the amount of stuff you have to do, as you've already kind of gone through, like driving to courses, doing all this gym work and all this kind of stuff, the cost that you actually get back from that, it's got to impact you so much from financially when you have these like 2, 4, 14-day bans potentially.
100%. That's what it is, isn't it? That's the way you have to think about it. Is if you did get a 14-day ban, that's your half-month wages being taken off you. And imagine if you think about it that way, a lot of jockeys, if they're not going to go one over, if they know when they're going to Sturgeon and they go, you tap your card for half your month's wages, they'll be thinking about it a lot more seriously than they are now. And not just that, is you miss out on opportunities as well. There's many horses that I sort of haven't been able to win because you've been suspended, and then someone goes and wins on them, and then you don't get back on the horse. Yeah, it can be very difficult. And as you see Colin for this week in Goodwood, he's missing out on probably one of the best rides of the year. So it's a shame for him, but it is what the rules are.
Should have called you for the ride.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I know, they must have lost my number somewhere.
Just when you're talking about sort of financials and stuff, I'm quite intrigued to understand how it works for jockeys to get paid, and how you guys, do you have like contracts? Are you freelancing? Do you work for someone specific at the moment? Because obviously you look at some jockeys, they can do 3 or 4 races, 5 races a day, a big race. And how does it work in terms of percentage? Do you take percentage of winnings home? Like, I'm quite intrigued. Obviously you don't have to give numbers, but just in terms of how it works, quite interested.
Yeah, so there obviously are some jockeys, obviously Ryan with Cornwall and Willie with Godolphin, and a few other jockeys that are retained. Obviously Colin Keane with Juddmonte, they're retained, and they'll be financially retained that way to ride their horses.
So they have a contract, would they?
Yeah, they'd have a contract written out, and obviously all the details on there. As sort of number one, or sometimes owners have 2 or 3 jockeys. But then so the rest is probably 80-90% of jockeys are freelance. You might have a stable you ride for a lot, and a couple of stables you'd be more entitled to ride for than others. But you'd be freelance, and we're self-employed. You get your set riding fee of, it's about £170 now per race, and then a percentage of the prize money as well. So the percentages, it's around 6.5-7% for a win, and then a little bit later, quite a lot less for a place percentage.
Okay. Interesting.
We're self-employed. We've got to pay for everything ourselves, all transport to get to the race courses and everything like that. So all our valet fees, agent fees, that all comes out of our riding fees. So it's there's plenty of outgoings as well.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Do you have a view on
traveling?
How many rides you would need, and do you think of it like that in terms of if I'm taking prize money out and that's a bonus, how many rides I need in, let's say, a month to sort of break even or make a living? Yeah,
it's one of those ones. It's a couple of years ago when I was having a couple of quiet years, like I was, and it's the first time. It's funny, like when I first started, hit the ground running, and you don't even think you're not even riding for the money when you first begin. You're just riding because you're loving it and you're enjoying it, and that's something as a kid you're doing your hobby, and then suddenly you're earning a few quid, and you're 17 and you're 18. You think about buying yourself a house or whatever. It all hits you quite hard. And you don't have to think about it, but then obviously you grow up and had a couple of quiet years, and I remember I think must have been 22, 23, and it was the first time I ever had to think about, oh shit, I need to save here. I've got a mortgage to pay, got a tax bill and all this and everything. And it was a big shock, actually. I'm not going to lie. And I was so lucky to start doing so well so young. But it grounded me a lot. And you do start thinking about, right, I need to be having X amount of rides or earning X amount to pay the mortgage, to pay the bills and everything. And unfortunately, so the last year and then this year again, I'm picking, rides are picking up, winners are picking up, and I can sort of focus more on the riding and not having to worry financially, am I making enough to pay the bills, what's good, and it takes the pressure off a lot.
Yeah, I guess it's similar, isn't it? If anyone's self-employed, it's always, you just got to try and think about that. Yeah.
You need the work.
Yeah, interesting.
What would you say, George, has been your kind of, maybe this year or just in the last kind of, over the years, like your kind of your favourite ride from all the ones that you've had? Is there one that stands out for you?
Oh, yeah. When I was a kid, we had a couple of nice big handicap winners. It was great. We won the Cambridgeshire down here and won a big race. I think my third ever winner was on 2000 Guineas Day, so that was great because that was
fantastic.
Yeah, it was only my third ever winner, and my family were up here, and it was quite a big shock. I think it's like 30-1 or something. I hope he'd run well without winning. And yeah, sort of when you're a kid, that's sort of the first time you really living the dream. So that was great.
That pure shock for you as well as you kind of cross the finish line thinking, I've won this, like windmills everywhere, like loving life.
Yeah. It's everything you dreamed of as a kid, and everything just happens, and it's great. And yes, you get the bug for it, and that's when you really want it to happen again and again.
What's your next big dream then, George? Like, obviously, it sounds like you're sort of living your dream in terms of being a jockey, but like, have you got a race that you'd like to win, or have you got a horse you'd like to win with? Yeah,
so if you ask any jockey, so you got the Derby, the Arc, and personally for me, like one winner I'd love to ride in my career, if I had to pick one, is a Breeders' Cup winner. I spent a couple of winters over in Santa Anita in California, loved it over there, had a great time. Yeah, so fell in love with American racing, which I'm a bit heavy to be based over there, but yeah, loved a couple of winters spent out there, and I think to win a Breeders' Cup race that would be special.
Yeah, nice. You say a bit heavy to be out there.
Yeah, so the weights out there are pretty light. You need to be riding at, I think it's you need to be doing be 122 pounds or something, 121 pounds, or it's about 86, wow. I think. Oh yeah, maybe that's a bit heavy actually, maybe a bit light. It's about 86 you need to be doing for the maidens out there.
That's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very light, very light. You get a lot of the sort of South American jockeys over there. Yeah, so they're a lot lighter compared to us Europeans.
Yeah, they're born at altitude, and
Yeah, exactly.
It's all right.
Malnourished as a kid.
So you spoke about your one of your best moments. What's been the biggest shocker you've had? What's been the worst moments?
Oh, it's a hard sport. Like the amount of miles you do on the road and everything, and you'd be going somewhere and you think you'd have a winner, a big day or whatever, and it runs no good, and then you sat in the car on the way home from racing, and you're sort of overthinking everything. And as I say, it's mentally tough, the racing, like more than physically, especially this time of year when you're spending a lot of time alone doing miles in the car. And I think it's only been the last few years people have sort of actually thought about it and are trying to sort of mentally prepare themselves for the racing, and because it is mentally very difficult. Every jockey's had a few shockers on horses that they know they should have won, and as I said, you can't just sort of switch off and go home because you sat in the car for 2 or 3 hours on the way back, and you're just overthinking it. You're watching the race back, and so it can be pretty tough that way. Especially, I don't look into it too much. I'm pretty chilled with it, but a lot of people sort of look into the social media side of it. And if you go onto Twitter or you go through our inboxes on Instagram requests or Facebook messages, the amount of people message you saying, you should go and kill yourself and do this and do that, just speaking out their pockets. It's crazy, really.
I was going to literally say about that, like the amount of pelters you guys must get from social media, and it's almost potentially, I guess, I don't know what your thought is, like better to be off kind of social media, because if you know yourself you've had a bad ride, you don't need someone else who potentially had probably a quid each way on something
Yeah.
rubbing your face in it.
Yeah. I think it affects different people in different ways. Some people really look into it and everything, and it doesn't really bother me too much. I actually message them back sometimes and just give them a bit back.
Say thank you
And
very
it just,
much.
yeah, exactly. And that winds them up even more so because you just know they're speaking out their pocket. And it's
Yeah, of
crazy.
course.
It'd be the same people every time, and they'd lose a few quid on you, so they'll message you saying this, that, and everything. And then you go and ride them a winner, and they'll say, "Oh, mate, you're riding so well now. It's great to see you doing so well. I'm really pleased to you." And it's just like, yeah, it's just people speaking out their asses. But I always say, I think when the social media, you should be able to have to put your ID in before when you sign up for it. You know, some things you have to send off your driving license or some sort of ID. And that'll put a stop to so much, all like people being racist and stuff like that on social media. They wouldn't do it if people knew who they actually were.
It would solve a lot of problems for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish our quick fire 5 then. So let's start with best horse you've ever ridden.
Best horse I've ridden would probably be on the track. I'd say a horse called Prize Money for Saib bin Sarur. I think he ended up winning a couple of nice races in Dubai.
Nice. One of the horses you'd wish you could ride?
Oh, I tell you what, I got asked a question. Soul Power back in the day, a sprinter. Yeah, he looked great fun to ride. Yeah. I think I'd love to have a spin on him, especially when choosing Johnny Murchie's to ride him. He looked great fun.
You have to have balls of steel on that horse to tie him.
Yeah. I like riding like that.
40 miles an hour. No, thanks very much.
Yeah. All right, your favourite track to ride?
Newmarket, just down the road, and had plenty of luck there.
Yeah. Home turf.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to dive in on the Quickfire 5 because I see you're riding at Chester, and on our last pod that we did, one of the courses we brought up was like for uniqueness is Chester just being basically a circle.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on Chester? It's basically if you're drawing the car park, are you basically screwed? You really want to just be on the inside, or do you have another thought about it?
Yeah, our draw is important there, but you get some races when they go very quick, and you can get away with dropping in from a wide draw. But I actually love it. You have some days when you leave the place and you're thinking, okay, I'm never going to come back here again. It's doing my head in. And I had about a few weeks ago, I had I think 6 or 7 rides, and I had a lightweight, and I thought I'd have a couple of winners, and it just all went complete shit. And I was like, this isn't for me. I just bollockings all afternoon. I'm thinking, what am I doing this for? Don't do this. But then other times when it works, it's great. And that's it. I've got a full book of rides up there tomorrow. A couple of chances, a couple of nicer draws. Yeah, when it does work, it's great fun. It's a great atmosphere up there. I'd say any racing fan around the world, it's somewhere where you'd try and target, especially that May meeting. It's unique to anywhere else.
And you mentioned there that you've kind of got a nice little book of rides tomorrow. Have you got one in particular that you've got an eye on that you can say?
Yeah, Rosenpur, he's got a good draw again, and he's pretty straightforward around there. 5 furlong sprinter. He's very quick from the gates, and if he can get out, get his head, get out, get in front, and if we can get a breather into him halfway, I think he could go close.
In George we trust.
In George we trust. There we go. There's a top tip of the day. All right, last 2 then. Best mate in the weighing room?
Hector Crouch and Callum Shepherd. We'll be good mates with them too.
Nice. No punches been thrown with them then.
No.
And if you weren't a jockey, what would you be?
I don't know. I'd love to be a footballer. Wouldn't be good enough, but something else in sport. Yeah, F1 driver, or I'm enjoying my golf at the moment. Maybe a golfer.
Oh, nice. We're all about
Don't do it.
as well.
Don't do it to yourself, George.
We could spend hours talking about that, George. Don't get us into it.
We'll talk about a tough mental game. Yeah, God.
Yeah, exactly.
George, just before we kind of sign off, like one of the things that we want to do as part of like the pod is try and get more people like yourself, jockeys, trainers, and things like that on.
Yeah.
It's almost like a diary of a CEO question when they try and get someone else on, you don't know who it's going to be. But if you had a question to ask like the next person we had on, what would that question be?
If it was a jockey, I'd say, which jockey do you dislike the most?
Yes. Good way to start.
But if there's anyone else, I remember the Diary of the CEO, I actually enjoyed that podcast, the Stephen Bartlett one. And it's one of the best episodes. You listen to the Jimmy Carr episode.
So good. Brilliant episode.
And his question at the end, it's a boss question, is, are you happy?
Brilliant. I like that as well.
Yeah, no, it is. It makes you think about life, that one does.
Yeah, we'll try and get Hector Crouch on then and see what he says.
Yeah. Exactly. Give him a message.
And finally, George, before we close, have you got any advice for any new budding jockeys out there? What would be your one tip?
Work hard, stick your head down, getting with the right people and work hard. And it's a sport. You can, especially at first, it's long hours and it can be quite demanding, but it's if you work hard, it's worth it.
Rewarding.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Great advice.
No, it is.
Thank you so much, George. Yeah,
No
George,
worries, anytime.
the
Thanks,
Tailed Off
George.
crew. Thank you.
That's all right.
Appreciate your time.
No worries.
Best of luck today and at the weekend, mate, at Chester.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We'll see you soon for sure.
John George.
Look forward to it,
All right.
George.
Cheers,
Cheers,
mate.
boys.
Take it
Have a
easy.
great
See you
day.
later. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
There we go.
What a hero. What a
What a
hero.
lad. What a lad.
I'm delivering
Good
all
lad.
the big fish for you boys.
Good lad. Well, the
No, I
bar is
enjoyed that. That
rising.
was really good.
It was good. Yeah.
Position, and he powered the last flies down, and he powered Stallman in front of the last lens. Melody Light the first time. They're running up towards the finish, and he's mistaken the winning post. He's mistaken the winning post completely, Roger Lockwood, and Hoyt